This video is based on Ling Shan Hermit's work, Have We Truly Loved? All rights reserved. Any infringement will be pursued. Each one of us believes we love our families deeply. You love your children, your wife, don't you? You take them out for their favorite pizza, you never forget to buy them gifts on their birthdays. When they are feeling down, you play the monster to attempt to change their mood. Each of us is convinced that this is love. Probably no one would say it is not. According to Buddhism, until we reach enlightenment, all our love is based on self. In other words, all our love requires reciprocity. When we give a kiss, at the very least, we hope to get a similar kiss in return. Or something else. I would like to talk a bit about the difference between our self-based love and selfless love. Whether we realize it or not, we are in fact always calculating towards our family, friends, our romance. If you have read my previous writings, you should know that the self always lacks a sense of security. It is severely deficient in existence. For this, it constantly needs to absorb a sense of being through others, the external environment. For this, we establish families, schools, governments, hospitals, nursing homes, and various social organizations. To obtain the sense of security needed at different stages of life. When you were born, you had a mom and dad. They are your biggest ATM for a sense of security. When you lack a sense of security, you will go to them. As you grow up, your lover will give you the greatest sense of security. When you find that she no longer loves you, you will look for another source of security, a new lover or children to give you a sense of security. Of course, these are not what we want to emphasize here. Here we focus on discussing how we obtain a sense of security from family love. These two take up a very large proportion of our vitality. When you believe you are loving, in fact, you are constantly trying to maintain a balance of income and expenditure. I am referring to the balance of income and expenditure in terms of love. Of course, it doesn't solely refer to money, its scope is very broad. I can give an example. If you kiss your lover every day, and they never initiate to kiss you, after a while, you will feel out of balance. You would doubt their love for you. This is what I mean by balance of income and expenditure in love. Suppose you give 10 units of love, do you require the other party to at least give back 8 units of love? If they only reciprocate with 5 units, you would get very angry. But you will try to tell them that you gave 10 units, hence they can't only reciprocate with 5. However, arguments often arise in this process. During the argument, we say things like, I have contributed so much to this family, but what about you? This means we are always calculating, trying to maintain a balance of income and expenditure in our emotions. Even the purest love is not exempt from this because we have a self, we need to feed the self. This prevents us from being able to focus on love, from being able to love without any distractions. We are always holding a calculator even when we kiss our partner. The family or the romantic relationship is the last place we want trouble, because it is a source from which we can constantly derive a sense of security. But it is also very dangerous. We think we have switched to a safe mode, but there are always accidents that disrupt our illusion of safety. Once we feel the imbalance of income and expenditure in love or family, what we get is a sense of insecurity. Our self feels threatened. Think about it, all family conflicts, all problems in love are due to an imbalance in emotional income and expenditure. You gave 10 units of love, but what about him? It seems like he has no clue that he should at least give back 6 units, but what he gave at most could only be counted as 2 units. Whether it's for our boyfriends, girlfriends, our husbands or wives, or even our parents or children, we actually all do this. This is love based on self. This kind of love demands reciprocation. It is never selfless. Love mixed with self is never selfless. I have no intention to criticize this kind of love. As those who have not realized the truth, even if we want to, we cannot possibly have a love that transcends this kind of love. But I don't think this is true love. This kind of love is centered on the self, rarely genuinely considering the feelings of others. It determines its own contributions based on the other parties, which is a transaction. This is also why our family relationships are always so tense. Always having various issues. Because we have never truly loved anyone. Have you ever loved anyone without expecting any reciprocation? No matter what they do, it does not affect your love for them in the slightest. I seriously doubt any of you have had such love. If we think our girlfriend is unhappy, we show concern, not because we love her, but because as an important person in our lives, her unhappiness will sooner or later affect us. It will disrupt our plans for the night might be ruined. We fear such trouble. This is just a measure we take to avoid injury to ourselves. Just like most parents force their children to take on the mission of glorifying the family at a very young age. This is entirely selfish. I don't believe they have considered things from the child's perspective. They merely hope that their child can satisfy their ego and redeem their failed lives. In love, we do the same. We hope that the other person can completely satisfy ourselves. We love the other person because they love us almost as much as we love ourselves, and we can experience the pleasure of our ego being fully satisfied with them. But the good times don't last long. Soon, because the other person is also selfish, they come to us in order to satisfy their own ego. Therefore, when the initial impulse gradually comes to a halt, both parties begin to see each other's true colors. At that time, both sides start to demand love from the other that is not less than their own. This is an unspoken rule, of course. You won't say, "I've given you so much, so you must give me as much." But just because you didn't say it doesn't mean you didn't think it. It's all an unspoken understanding. The best period of the relationship might be when the income and expenditure of both parties are relatively balanced. But soon, we get distracted by other things, and one side might not be able to provide as much love as the other side hopes for in a timely manner. At this point, the other party may start to feel insecure. Arguments may occur. Such things happen every day in our lives, happening in our love and family relationships. When the difference in the balance of payments between the two sides has become enormous, we tend to establish a new relationship to maintain the nourishment of the self. This is our love. We are such people that even if we paint a flower on a wall, we hope it gets attention from others, and each time someone passes by, we remind them, "I painted that." Because we have expectations. We anticipate receiving some compliments. That's how we are. Even for such small things, we need feedback. Let's speculate about the love of a saint here. According to Buddhist theories, a saint like the Buddha has realized the non-self. He doesn't have an ego that needs to be satisfied. Therefore, he doesn't need to marry, establish a family, or make friends to gain a sense of security. He can stay in the dark without being afraid of it. He also doesn't need movies or music to entertain himself. Imagine a person without a self, who doesn't distinguish between others, who doesn't believe that some people are more important than others. The reason we think some people are more important than others is simply because they play significant roles in our lives. We need these significant roles, as most of the nourishment for our ego is provided by them. Therefore, managing our relationships with these significant people becomes especially important in our lives. However, for a self-realized person, there's no need to please anyone, as they do not need to gain the nourishment for their ego from others. A person completely without ego, a person who views you as themselves, they might express their love for you in various ways. However, what they care about most is to help you achieve the same liberation as they have. To do this, they can drink with you, they might even fight you, they could discuss the Buddha's teachings with you, or they could talk about women with you. As long as it can guide you towards liberation, they don't mind doing anything. They also don't expect any kind of return from you, because there is no ego within them that needs to be nurtured. They don't need to calculate whether the love given and received is balanced, so their love is real love, not the pretentious love that we have.